a bedtime story, please?
No, Mom said you have to go right to bed.
Please?
Fine. But I guess it's gonna have to be one about forgiveness after the day we just had. Alright. Once there was a man, and he had 2 sons.
What were their names?
I don't know.
They have to have names.
Really?
Please?
Fine. We'll call the younger one Luke, and we'll call the older one... Bruno. That's what we're going with, Bruno.
Yes.
Fine. One day, Luke said to his father, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and take all the stuff that you were gonna give me one day. You know, property, money, whatever you were planning on giving me in the future, could you just go ahead and give it to me right now? And the father did what the son asked. And then a couple days later, the youngest son packed up all of his stuff and he headed off to Vegas.
Vegas?
Yeah, Vegas. You know, I mean, it wasn't exactly Vegas. It was kind of like Vegas, but back in the day. So anyway, the son ends up in Vegas and, he's having fun and he's partying and he's all, ooh, ooh, and he's spending all of his money and he's doing all of the things that his dad told him not to do. But then eventually, he runs out of money. And you know what makes it even worse? There was a famine. Do you know what a famine is?
No.
Well, it's kind of like if McDonald's ran out of cheeseburgers.
That would be bad.
I know, right? So now he has no money and no food. And he ends up finding this job out in the city and he's feeding a farmer's pigs. But he's doing all of this work and he's not really making anything. And one day he is so hungry, he starts thinking about eating the pig food.
Ew.
Yeah, really disgusting, right? But here's the thing. Even if he wanted to, he wasn't allowed to eat the pig's food.
That's probably good.
So finally, the son says to himself, what am I doing here? Thinking about eating pig's food? Really? Back at home, my father's servants have plenty to eat and a really nice place to stay. And here I am starving with no place to go. And then he has one of those light bulb moments you see in the movies. You know, the one where they're scratching their chin and then all of a sudden they make the crazy face and they point up at the sky and he's like, oh, I know. I'll go back home and I'll just ask my father to make me a servant and I'll beg for his forgiveness. So he starts the long journey home. And the whole time the son is practicing what he's going to say to his father. He's going to say, I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Just make me a servant. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Just make me a servant. Oh, Father, I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Will you please just make me a servant?
I mean, he is his son.
That's right. So back at home, his father had been waiting on the porch every morning and watching for his son to come home. And then one day his father spots him a long way off. I mean, further than a football field a long way off. And he sees him and he just starts booking it toward him. He's running and he's laughing and crying, but he's running and he probably trips. But he gets back up and he's just running and he runs up and he just grabs his son and he's so excited. Like one of those videos you see where a dog's owner comes back from the war, and he's hugging him and kissing him and he's like,
He wasn't mad at him?
No, not at all. In fact, the son did what he practiced, and he went up to his father and he said, I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Just make me a servant. But the father, he grabbed his son by the shoulders and he looked him in the eye and he said, no, Luke, I am your father. And he refused to make him a servant. And he even went out and he bought him a brand new robe and he got him a shiny gold ring and he bought him some new kicks because, he didn't have any shoes. And then he threw him a really big party to celebrate that his son had come home.
With cake and ice cream too?
Yeah, of course. What kind of party doesn't have cake and ice cream? And even one of those big inflatable bouncy castles.
Don't be silly. He's too old for a bouncy castle.
I mean, the son wasn't that old. Wait, do you think I'm too old for a bouncy castle?
Yeah, you break something.
Jeez, how old do you think I am?
40?
I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that.